Hey everyone, this is Coach Mark. I hope you guys are doing absolutely amazing. Now, this week, I want to share with you one skill, one thing that you can learn that can totally enrich your life. All right. Now, I want you to stay with me for this. Now, over the past weekend, I was doing a whole bunch of driving and I was listening to an interview with John Paul Dejoria. Okay. And for those of you that aren't familiar with him, I talked about him maybe about a few months, maybe about a year ago in my power and a half hour calls. But John Paul Dejoria, he is the founder or one of the founders of John Paul Mitchell Systems, right? That's that popular hair care line. And he's also the founder of Patron Tequilla. Now, his story, man, this guy has an absolutely crazy story. He was like in a street gang when he was a teenager. Then when he was about 22 years old and he had his first kid, his wife at the time decided that she didn't want to be a mother anymore and didn't want to be a wife anymore. So she totally emptied their bank account and left him with the child. Isn't that crazy, right? She totally just emptied all the money that they had. And he was actually in between jobs at the time, but he had enough money probably to make it through. But his wife went ahead and emptied like all of his bank account, not all of his, but emptied his bank account and left him with their child. Okay. And fortunately, he had some biker buddies that he was cool with that ended up taking him in. And while he went out looking for jobs, some of the women, the biker women that are part of his organization would help take care of his child, right? So this man not only went homeless twice at age 22, but then again at age 38, before he started John Paul Mitchell Systems, he went homeless again, right? And he essentially started his company with $700. He had come up with $350. Actually, he borrowed $350 from his mom, and then his partner, Paul Mitchell, came up with $350, and that's how they started his job. But one of the things that helped him to become successful with John Paul Mitchell Systems was that he went out and he just, they came up with the product and he just went door to door. He just went door to door to salons selling his product, door to door to salons selling his product. And what helped him to be able to do that was that when he was younger, one of the jobs that he had when he was younger was that he was a encyclopedia salesperson. And in the interview, he talked about this. Like, you have to be okay with getting no's. And I remember having a conversation with my brother a few months ago. No, this was actually about a year or two ago. And we were talking about that what we should do with our kids is that once they become like 17 or 18, have them join up in a MLM company. Right. And the reason being is that or not even just that, or have some sort of a sales job. And I wish I would have done that when I was 18. I wish I would have done that. And I wish somebody would have made me, because I probably would have did it and quit the job after like 2 days. Right. But I wish I would have did it and someone actually made me have to continue doing it, because I think that that's like one of the most essential skills, especially as an entrepreneur. One of the most essential skills that you can learn is being able to accept no and keep going. The problem with a lot of people nowadays is that they get a no, they get some level of rejection, a no or something, and then they quit. And then we know that if you quit, you know what I'm saying? Like the problem with most people, the reason why they aren't as successful as they want to be is because they quit too soon, right? So if you can learn that skill in some sort of a sales job, you're told no every day, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in. Les Brown talks about all the great people talk about this, that they receive so many no's along the way. But guess what? They didn't give up. They didn't quit. And, essentially with John Paul Dejoria, he had to sell encyclopedias. And can you imagine what it was like probably selling encyclopedias back when he was doing this back in the 70s or the 80s or whatever? I'm sure people were like slamming it. Like, nobody wants to buy encyclopedias. Like anybody that does door-to-door sales, that is such a difficult job, because I can imagine people just going to be rude with you. I remember when I was younger, when I was about 17 years old, I actually did a sales job like that. I collected money for some police association. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a scam or something. But I was 17 or 18 years old at the time, and I did that. And I remember people would just say the meanest, rudest things and would just slam the phone in your ear. But I can't even imagine what it would be like to just be going to people's houses door to door. But guess what? And I mean, as cruel as that may sound, and for a lot of people that's so far outside of their comfort zone, that's probably the best thing for you, because it takes you so far out of your comfort zone and it gets you to the point where you can accept that rejection. And I'm going to tell you, in life, the people that are really successful, the people that make it, are the people that are able to accept the rejection and keep going and keep going and keep going. I mean, there's so many people in life that they may have a great idea, and for whatever reason, someone tells them no. And then because they get that first no, they get that first rejection, they decide that, you know what, I'm going to, this isn't for me. This just isn't going to work. And it's not that their idea is bad. It's not that they're not a good business person. It's just the fact that, the person that you showed the idea to, maybe they just didn't see it. Maybe they didn't get it. Maybe the first 100 people didn't get it. It doesn't matter. If you really believe in whatever it is that you're doing, you have to continue going on. And I know that lesson now, because here it is, at my age right now, I'm creating a new opportunity for myself, and I have had to reach out to thousands of people, and I've gotten plenty of rejections. But you know what? I still keep going. I made up my mind that it doesn't matter how many rejections that I've gotten, and I probably emailed for a project that I'm working on right now. I've emailed over 1,500 people, maybe close to 2,000 people so far, and I was just getting rejection after rejection after rejection after ignore after rejection after ignore rejection. And now finally, but I made up my mind that I wasn't going to stop until I completed a certain goal, until I emailed a certain amount of people, like close to 10 or 20,000. And here it is. I'm probably at about 1,500, 2,000. And to be honest, I'm going to have to slow it down, because now all the yeses are starting to come. So it just, it's just a testament that if you keep going, you will eventually get the yeses. Sometimes when you're reaching out to people and they're telling you no, sometimes you just need to stop and look at and reassess what you're saying and make some adjustments. And that's what I did. So to me, it didn't matter how many people told me no. I didn't really care. All I looked at was, okay, let me try a different method. Maybe the wording that I'm sending out to all these people, maybe let me try sending out a different way of saying it and see if that works a little bit better. And you make whatever little adjustments, but you have to make up in your mind that it doesn't matter how many people say no. Maybe the person just opened up the email and they were having a bad day and they're just like, you know what, no, and they just feel like being mean. It doesn't have anything to do with how good or bad your product is. It's more just on that particular person. But if you keep going, somebody's going to give you a shot. And that's the key to success. That's the key to success at anything, is that you just make up your mind that no matter how many times someone tells you no, you're going to keep going. And that's exactly what John Paul Dejoria did. And that's why right now, after this man was homeless twice, once at the age of 22 and another time at the age of 38, now the man is worth over $4 billion. Not million with an M, billion with a B, right? $4 billion with a business that he started with $700. He didn't even have any of the $700. His partner came up with the $350, and his mom lent him the other $350 to start up the business, right? But then when he started up the business, when he got the $700, he still had to go out there and knock on salons, door to door to door to door to door. And I'm sure that a lot of people slammed the door on his face. But guess what? That didn't make him want to quit. He still had it in his mind that he was going to move forward, right? And that's what you have to be able to do. You have to be able to accept no. You have to get it in your head that just because somebody tells you no, it has nothing to do with how good or bad your product is. Maybe your product is the best. Maybe it's not. It doesn't matter what they think it is or whatever, right? Because you're always constantly going to be looking for ways to improve whatever it is that you're doing. But just because they told you no, that doesn't mean that your product isn't good. You just have to make up in your mind that you're going to keep moving forward, right? You'll make whatever adjustments that you need to make along the way, but you're going to keep moving forward. That's how you finally get to that success. And I can promise you this, you may get tons of no's in the beginning, but after a while, the tide is going to turn and you're going to start to get plenty of yeses. You're going to get more yeses than you can even imagine if you keep going. Okay, so you got to keep going. You got to get used to hearing no, and it's got to just bounce off your back like water does on a duck's back, right? It just has to just flow right off of your back, and you just say, you know what? I'm not going to take it personal. I'm just going to keep going because this is what I need to do. All right. So get used to no, accept no. Don't let no bother you. There's so many great books out there on there. I can't remember who the author is, but I know I read a book called Go for No. Right. That's the name of the book. It's called Go for No. I can't remember who the author is. I read it about 2 or 3 years ago, but just do a Google search for it. That's a good book. Les Brown always talks about make no your vitamin, so there's so many great people that talk about this, that you have to be willing to accept no and be okay with it and not let it personally bother you. And if you can do that and you can keep going, no matter how many no's get thrown at you, after a while, somebody's going to have to say yes. And all you need is a certain amount of people to say yes for you to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish. All right. Thank you much. Don't forget, get comfortable with no. Be okay with no. All right. All right.